Hey everybody, welcome to the shop. So what's the big secret? Well, as some of you know, my parents died a couple of years ago, and I don't want this to be a sad, somber video. I want this to be an upbeat and inspirational video. So, although they passed, it put me in a bad place, and I made a commitment about a year ago. Actually, the 10th of August is exactly 1 year ago that I made a commitment. And for some of you, you would know what this is, but some of you will not. So, what this symbolizes is 1 year of sobriety. So, August 10th of last year, I decided that I was going to stop drinking. I went to a bad place when my mom and dad died, and I got in a little too heavy. I went to the doctor, and the doctor said, "What are you doing, using your liver as a punching bag?" So, was I an alcoholic? I don't know that I would say I was or I wasn't, but what I will say is I made a conscious decision August 10th last year to stop. We cut it out that day, and I haven't had one drop of alcohol since. Has it been easy? No. Would it be easy for you? No, it wouldn't if you wanted to quit. But I don't want this video to be a, hey, I'm great and you guys can do it and all this stuff. I want it to be inspirational, but I just thought it would tell you where I've been, where my head's been for the last year. And to commemorate that, I used the Onefinity, home CNC, and the Jenny bits to create something to commemorate it. This is what they call a 1 year coin. Now, I do have a little one that my wife got me, and that's great, but I thought, let's go bigger, let's go home and make one here. So this video is going to highlight the process to make this coin, and I hope you enjoy it. Again, as I said, I don't want this to be a sad or a woe is me video. I want this to be an inspiration for everybody out there. If you so choose to stop drinking, to put the bottle down, you can do it. Good luck, and let's get started. Now, of course, Carveco was used to design this thing, but here we're looking at my flattening sled that I made from 2 unistruts and some angle iron. I have a build video on that as well. I'll leave a link in the description below if you're interested in seeing it. Not putting any weight on it as it goes back and forth so it doesn't bow in the center. And just light passes back and forth. So the first step was to paint the disc gold. And once that dried, I think I put 4 coats on that thing. I was able to remove some of the dowels, some of the pipes in the front and bring that disc as far forward as I possibly could. I've only got about 2 inches to spare on the machine's capabilities. And obviously we're taking material away to raise the letters. The letters will remain gold, and so will the triangle and the words and the number 1. And here you can see the V-bit, that groovy Jenny getting in there and doing its job. This was completely hand painted after the spray paint. I went around with the brush and hand painted everything. Now you use a stiff bristled brush and some acrylic paint, and you can go around and dab away things, and if you make a mistake you just rub it off with your finger and a paper towel and you can clean it up. Acrylic doesn't run, it doesn't bleed, it's easy to maneuver, easy to work into the project. And obviously we did the blue first, and again acrylic paint. I'm not sponsored by this company, but that's what I used. And we start the outside and we just worked our way around. Now when you paint something like this, you start in the center and work your way to the outside so you don't have to put your arms in the wet paint as you're progressing with the job. And if you are right-handed, you work from left to right, and if you're right-handed, you work from right to left. I'm sorry, if you're left-handed, you work from right to left. That way your arm never gets into your project. I learned that back when I used to do tattoos in New York. If you go the wrong direction as you're applying the tattoo needle, you'll rub off your stencil. It's the same concept here. We're almost done with the paint. All in all, I sat at the table for about 3 hours painting this thing by hand. It looks a lot faster than it is. obviously doing it at a sped up amount here, but 3 hours of painting by hand and getting most of the paint on my hands, we did good. Okay folks, there you have it. A project a year in the making. Anybody out there fighting the good fight, I wish you the best. I wish you luck. Hang in there, take it one day at a time, and you'll make it. Thanks for watching, and what follows is the tutorial. Okay, so to make this thing, it's very basic, very simple. Let's go through it. First thing we're going to do is start with an oversized work area. I went 40 by 40. Now obviously if your machine won't do that large, then you're going to adjust the size of your stock down so that it will work within the capabilities of your machine. I'm going to do 40 by 40 because I know my machine will do a 48 inch wide, 32 inch deep project. But we're going to have the origin in the center. I'm going to switch to 2D by clicking up here. I'm going to start with making a circle. Now in the center here, you'll see that little dot appears in the center as I get close to it. That is the center of your work area. You get the crosshair, left click and drag out. Don't pay too particular attention to what size you are there. Come over here on the right, double clicking, deleting that, and making this, in my case, a 30-inch round circle. Click create, and we have our outer limits to our coin. Click the arrow, let's click off just to make sure it's there. Let's hit F9 to confirm. It's obviously in the center. Now we're going to go to the offset tool down here on the left. We're going to click offset, pardon me, and we're going to offset inward. We're going to offset inward the first one, 5/8 of an inch in my case, which happens to be 0.625 offset. And I have mine set up so that it selects the resulting offset right here so I can continue to bounce inward with my offsets. So the next offset is also inward. That one's going to go in 3 inches. Click offset. The next one is going to go in 0.75 inches. Click offset again. And there we have all of the outside and the inside circles. Clicking the cursor to click off and shut everything off. Now we're going to go to the polygon tool. Click on that. We're going to go up here and change it to the number of sides to be 3 for a triangle. We're going to go back to the center again. Once we find center, we can left click and drag out, and it will snap to the inner circle, release, and click create. Now the reason it'll snap to the inner circle is because I have snapping on. Let's go to view up here on the top, going all the way down here to the bottom where it says snapping. Sliding over, I have snap to guidelines, snap to objects, and snap hints. You need those 3 turned on. That way your machine will tell you where the center is and it will snap objects to each other. Click off of here to shut it off. Clicking the cursor. That's how I'm getting the bullseye in the center there because I have show hints turned on. We're good there. Click off of that. Now what we want to do is put some text all the way around this thing. So we're going to click on the circle right here. It would be the second one out. We're going to click on text, the T on the bottom, and by lighting that up and clicking on text, it's going to wrap that text all the way around that circle. So we have to determine what size text we want to go around that circle. Let's start with 2 inch. And as you'll notice here, you can be in inches, points, or millimeters. I've changed mine to inches. And you have to click text once more to activate that. Now we'll just start typing in here. And we know that that phrase is "to thine own self be true." So just start typing. Oops, I gotta learn how to spell. To thine own self be true. And you're going to want to space it after the last word so that it puts the correct spacing in between each one of those. Now that doesn't look right. It's on the inside. So you go over here on the bottom and you're going to click text on the other side. and it will pop it to the other side. Now, if that was not clicked and you were typing, it would have put it on the inside, then you would click text on the other side. You can trip those back and forth between each side by clicking this little box, turning it on and turning it off. Click Create. Come back to your cursor, and it is creating those letters around the curve, and that's perfect. Now you're going to click on the letters once more. We're going to go to the Transform tool, and we're going to maintain the aspect ratio by locking here, and we're going to increase the size to bring these letters up off of that bottom circle. So let's go with 20, let's go 27 to begin with, and apply. And as you can see, they grow and they come up off of that inside line. Let's go 27.5. And each time I do this, I'm clicking apply. And once you have those spread out off of the bottom and off of the top so that they're centered and you're happy with it, you can click back on the cursor tool, click off of the project, and as you can see, you now have the phrase "to thine own self be true" wrapped around the outside. Now we need to put the 3 words in here on each side of the triangle. We'll start with unity. So we're going to click on the text tool again. Now bear with me here and click down in here, click the text tool and click on the bottom and write the first word, which is unity. Now we're going to click to create that. The next thing we're going to do is go to the Transform tool, and we're going to rotate this anti-clockwise 60 degrees. The side of each side of this triangle is 60 degrees. So we'll put 60 here, and we'll click apply. That turns our unity so it matches that line. Then we simply grab it when we have the 4 crosshairs and we drag it to where we want it. Clicking the cursor tool, we now have that word where we want it. Click the text tool again clicking down in here. If you try to click up in here, it's going to think you want to edit these texts and it will not let you. So if you click down in here for the next word, let's do service as the next word. Again, we're going to rotate this one, but this time we're going to rotate clockwise. So we're going to create this word, go to Transform, come back over here, and we're going to change this to clockwise. Again, 60 degrees. Coming back to the word, once we get the handlebars, the crosshair, we can drag this guy to where we want him so that it is centered on the triangle. And I did this all by judgment. I really didn't get too specific with getting grid lines out and making sure everything was exactly perfect. I put this where I believed it was center, where this was center, and we'll go on to the third word. Again, dropping on the bottom, and the third word is recovery. Create that one. We don't need to rotate that one. That one goes directly underneath that straight. So we get those crosshairs again, and we slide that one in place. If you wanted to be fancy with that one, you could hit F9 and then drag it back down, but placing them around the triangle by eye to me is fine. I got to get my handles because I want to drop this guy down just a little bit. Okay, that looks good to me. And this then is a simple V-carve toolpath. We're going to click this line here, the words, push shift, we're going to click the words, basically everything all the way in, and the word down here. And what this will do is it'll carve the negative around the letters and raise the letters. So we'll go to the V-carve toolpath over here on the right. We are going to limit the maximum tool depth. We only want to go in 1/4 of an inch. Select a finishing tool or a V-bit tool. In this case, I use the Downtown Groovy Jenny. not the downtown, just the Groovy Jenny, 60 degrees. Select that. Scrolling down, I then clicked a 1/4 inch end mill for this, and I did use the downtown in this case. Select that. Define the material. The material was 0.75. Click OK. Going to give this a name. Let's call it text. Let's calculate now. And as you can see, it's cut everything out on the inside, not the letters and not the triangle. Let's close this out. Let's click on Toolpaths, right click on Toolpaths, Simulate All, click Simulate. As you can see, we now have the letters and the triangle on the inside. That looks good. Click on Simulation. Let's delete the simulation. Our text has disappeared. Don't panic. Click on this little icon right here. It'll bring them back. Let's switch back to the 2D. Let's click these light bulbs to turn off the toolpaths. Using the cursor tool, click off of everything and click on the outside line only. Now we're going to cut this thing loose. So now we're going to do a profile toolpath. Click on the T up here, create profile toolpath. If you grab this blue bar, you can drag this guy up a little bit. Alright, start depth is 0. We know the finish depth should be 0.75 because our material is that thick. Let's click to select a 1/4 inch downtown Jenny to cut this thing loose. Select that. Scrolling down, I would recommend adding some bridges to yours if you'd like. Edit bridges. I like to put my bridges in where I choose. The length is 0.5, 1/4 inch thick. I like 2D bridges. I think they're stronger. Click Apply. Then let's put some bridges in wherever we see fit. Let's put one there. Really only going to need like 3 on a circle. So that should be good. Scrolling down, we don't need to change any of that. I always say cut loose on this one. Calculate now. And you can see the toolpath has gone around to cut this thing loose. Let's close this. Click on Toolpaths, right click once more, delete all toolpaths once more, simulate, and what do we get? There you have it. Let's go to Simulation, click on that, drop down here to the bottom where it says Material, and we will change that. Let's change it to light oak or medium oak. Let's try medium on this one. Click Apply, and as you can see, it turns it into wood. Pushing down on the center mouse wheel or holding the space bar, left click and drag, and you can turn your project so that you can get a better idea of what it looks like. Hit this box to center it once more, and there it is. And that's how you make this coin. Aha, and we made a mistake. Did anybody catch it? We need something here in the center. We need a circle and a number. So go to the center, left click, drag out until your circle is almost as big as the triangle and release. Click Create, go to the cursor tool and click off of the circle. Let's zoom out just a little. Go to the text tool, and again, you can't click in here. It won't allow it, so we'll click down in here. And in this case, we need the number 1. Or if you've been 2, 3, 4, 5 years, congratulations, but in my case it was number 1. We're going to click Create. We're going to drag him up into the center. Let's just push F9, that'll be easier. That puts him in the center. Go to the Transform tool, and let's increase the size of this one by grabbing a corner, stretching it out, pushing F9 again, grabbing the corner, stretching it out, F9 until you get this one as big as you desire, and it will put it back in the center each time. And now we'll go to the cursor tool, click off of it, and we'll create these toolpaths the way we're supposed to. Clicking on everything from here all the way in, Shift, Recovery, and then do the regular V-carve, and you will end up with the coin the way it's supposed to look. We'll do a little high-speed programming and whip this thing together. so you can see it. Just like that. So there you have it, everybody. I hope this gave you a little bit of inspiration if you choose to go the sobriety route and try to put the bottle down. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.